Yo guys, Vision SGen here, back with more Cod Zombies content. Today's episode will be around Terminus, arguably the best zombies map in all of Black Ops 6, with an amazing map layout as well as a very challenging map to survive in itself, with a fairly easy to complete Easter egg, with arguably the coolest and most badass boss fights of all time. This is episode 13 of the zombie series with all of the previous episodes on the channel. So on that note, let's get right into it. So I guess first things first, as a general overview as usual, Terminus is an incredible map with certainly kicked off the game in the right direction, setting the bar really high for what Black Ops 6 delivered. Now this map is known for its high round potential and focuses more on the Easter egg and experience in itself compared to the likes of Liberty Falls, which were two of available maps at launch. Now Terminus offers a more classic zombies experience for experienced players, which is difficult to both explore and survive, but definitely rewarding when you experience all of what it has to offer. Now the map is significant as it was basically the last location that was teased in the final cutscene of Black Ops Cold War leading into this game, which led this to be a very highly anticipated map, and in my opinion, it definitely lived up to that hype. Now the previous episode number 12 went into detail on the Liberty Falls map, like I said, the two available maps at launch that I both really enjoyed. If you guys want to check out my thoughts and hear what I thought about that map in general, be sure to go check it out. And seeing as the two were available at launch, I think it was safe to say that Black Ops 6 started off very, very well, in my personal opinion. However, the issue in the past, and I'd say for a lot of players in the community to this day, from what I've seen in the community with thoughts and reflections on this game, general feedback, is that we just don't quite realize and recognize how many casual players there are playing Call of Duty in this day and age. And if those casuals, the majority of all players, just don't simply enjoy zombies, then there's going to be less focus on it going forward. And we've seen that in past CODs. We've seen it happen, and it's unfortunate because, as you'll clearly know if you guys are familiar with me and this channel and this series, I'm clearly not a casual player, having done all of the Easter eggs in the previous 11 episodes, from episode 2 being on sort of the Giant or Derice from World at War, to now this episode, of course, and then, of course, before this was Liberty Falls, with all of the Easter eggs being complete on my own, pretty much all solo. And for any new viewer, the purpose of this series is to complete every main quest, aka an Easter egg, in each of the maps that I've shared along the way. And for any map I'm going to continue sharing along the way, that is the ultimate goal. In order to share that map and experience it with you guys, share thoughts and reflections of the game and the map in itself, I have to have completed the Easter egg, at least if it's applicable or able to be done on its own solo, whatever it may be. It's the ultimate goal and it's a requirement for each of the episodes. So guys, if you guys are new, like I said, or I need to remind you guys, if you guys haven't already heard it in previous episodes, that is the ultimate goal for this series. Now this map set up the game for a good year in my opinion. As I've mentioned many times in previous videos, what Easter eggs do for me are a major factor in what drives my enjoyment of a map and ranking overall, in terms of where I would say I would play a map again, whether I thought the map experience was incredible, and this one definitely ticks that box. Now although I've not got an exact number on where this map ranks all time versus maybe other maps, as I'm yet to update my previous list and still sort of unsure on where Black Ops 6 ranks all time in itself, but I do genuinely think that this map has either high B tier potential or even low A tier potential, which I'm fully aware that may upset or confuse players as to how this map could rank there. But for some, you may agree with me or you may even rank it even higher. But this is my list, so do not judge me, guys. If you have your own list or your own thoughts and opinions, let me know down below in the comments as to why this map wouldn't rank there. Or if you agree, also let me know down below in the comments, as I'm interested to hear your perspective on Call of Duty Zombies. Now, for this, as I said in previous videos, if we are all ranking off the same exact criteria and like there's a set agenda here, like what's the best Easter egg or whatever it may be, then of course this map would change on where it ranks, maybe. But seeing as it's just based off my own enjoyment, experiences, camo grind potential, high round potential, with having a very cool Easter egg in my opinion, a great wonder weapon on the map, and one of the coolest and most badass boss fights all in all, I think it's fair to rank this map around that sort of area. But as I've said, I'm definitely planning on doing like an updated tier list once I've gone through this entire series, got all of the Black Ops 6 maps out, done a couple of the Cold War DLCs that I've not done in the Black Ops 4 ones, and then eventually I'll do a tier list because I am interested to see where this map ranks all time, because I do think it's definitely a really good one. Of course, it's not like in the top 5 or maybe not even top 10 or anything like that, but it's definitely a good map. I think underrated to say the least. And just on that, I think Black Ops 6 is also very underrated, to be honest. Like I've said it in the last episode, but I do really think, I don't really know why so many players get so mad with this game or don't really enjoy it. It has so many new gen features and mechanics with the salvage weapon variants and the new perks and all that sort of stuff, but also it does have the traditional round-based features and mechanics as well. And I think that has to count for something because they've gone out and done both things to cater to two different audiences, which I think all in all is definitely a good thing, because anytime, if a game never changes, people just complain about it being the same thing every year, a reskin COD or whatever it may be, and people say, oh, well, why am I paying more money for the exact same game, whatever, just like Black Ops 7, what I'm hearing. But then again, on the same exact coin, you flip it over, and anytime a game does change, makes a drastic overhaul like it did in Cold War, whatever it may be, people then moan about change, and it's like, how are they meant to make any improvements at this point if Treyarch just get sort of slandered for any time they do it, any sort of change? And I guess the point here is that they'll never please absolutely everybody. With this game, I think it definitely surprised me and pleased me, to say the least, with the map quality and how it started. And not all, of course, we'll get into the later episodes, of course, throughout the series, but there's definitely some features on maps that aren't to the right quality, maybe, maybe, but like the first two maps in this game I think were incredible, and I think Terminus is one of the best maps that they've produced in a very, very long time, with an insane map layout, such a large map with various different islands surrounding the facility, the ship in itself, the crab island, the boats, all of the side Easter eggs. Like there's so many side Easter eggs on this map. The Kraken being in the water, the gas chasing you around to prevent you from being out in the water for too long, the parasites, the manglers, the amalgams, all made this traversing this map very difficult. And I can understand how a casual player maybe wouldn't like this map as much in comparison to maybe Liberty Falls, which is more catered towards casual players, of course. But this map, for any experienced players, OGs, it provided so many crazy experiences. From dealing with the amalgams for the first time was a real cool experience. Definitely a difficult one, especially when you're not sort of prepared, and reaching those round 30s, trying to survive against the crazy amount of hordes and elite zombies that spawn, making this map so difficult but fun and rewarding when achieving a high round. It has great high round potential overall, especially when you get set up and you know what you're doing on this map. I think it's a really good one to say the least, and in my opinion, definitely does not get the love it deserves, and definitely set up the game in a good direction, and personally in my opinion. And the wonder weapon on this map is definitely awesome. The beam smasher, a very cool weapon. I didn't necessarily know how to feel about it first because I was just being an idiot and wasn't using the L2, which is basically where you like freeze them and immobilize them and makes them vulnerable, susceptible to more damage, and then allows you to absolutely shred through hordes. And if you get used to sort of tapping L2 and then using the R2, this gun is incredible. So fun, so easy to use, and definitely a cool wonder weapon to say the least. But in the grand scheme of things, I didn't really use it that much, considering I spent the majority of the time when I was playing this map camo grinding, getting Nebula, a camo I got very early doors in Black Ops 6, something that looks so cool in this game, and something I really enjoy grinding for the most part on this map and Liberty Falls. And for the most part, I just think the wonder weapon is a really good and easy to use wonder weapon. Of course, to do the Easter egg, you do need to get this wonder weapon for various different things, and in this Easter egg, the part of the journey of getting the wonder weapon is really cool. I don't think it's too easy or anything like that by any means for casual players, but definitely not too far or long-winded in terms to actually obtain it. It's just a really cool experience to just go on this journey, get the wonder weapon, and then officially start your Easter egg, which of course, before I explain this Easter egg or anything like that as a summary, just to make it clear, this is not a guide for this map or this Easter egg. I do not do that just in case you guys are looking for a guide or anything like that. That is not what this is. There are of course really comprehensive and detailed guides out there in case you guys want to learn and know how to do this. Of course, I can maybe do one if that's what you guys want, but I'm sure there are better and more established content creators out there, of course, who make these already. And this is simply just a summary of what you have to do, my thoughts on it, my experiences, and so on. So to begin, usually it's always the same thing. You open the map up and you get the power on. That's typically always the first step. It technically doesn't count as a step, but it's always the same thing. Then you need to open up the secret room via the fuses, which are of course on the lift where the pack punch is, with using dead wire. Then obtain the parts around the map like the battery and all of that sort of stuff. And then you need to go get the code from Peck, or using any math geniuses here, your knowledge, in order to crack the code in the little secret room. Go to the marked location on the computer, basically complete the 3 colored orb phases, and then effectively collect the final pot, head back to the beam smasher in the secret room, then use this wonder weapon to basically shoot one of the 3 tentacle traps around the map where the keycard is showing. Collect that keycard, because you'll need this in a second to actually unlock the cage of which Nathan is locked inside of, and finding 3 clues around the map, the clock, the playing card, and the sign. Enter that code in, and then defeat Nathan, who is an elite boss on this map, which is basically like the halfway point of the Easter egg, which can be difficult to do if you're not set up and you don't know what you're doing. Then you need to dive into the water below the facility, obtain another keycard, go to the ship, and then survive a wave underneath in a secret room below there as well, through the hatch, obtain the canisters, fix 2 out of the 3 pipes that are around the map that are broken, go then obtain the hacking device from Peck, hack 3 of the signals on the sort of buoys that are around the map on the island, then return to the facility where the lockdown phase will basically have started, where you have 5 minutes to effectively disarm 3 bombs, which definitely is harder to do on solo than I initially thought, and I don't think anyone gives credit for. You do need to do a lot of multitasking, use decoys or sort of Casimir devices or whatever it may be in order to actually get the zombies off your back while you can defuse this device. I don't think it's as easy as maybe people have made out, especially on solo, like I said. Maybe there's a better strategy, I don't really know. But that was definitely a difficult step, and you do have plenty of time, of course, there's no need to panic, but you do have to multitask and make sure you have salvage for things like decoys or whatever it may be in order to help you. And then finally, you are on the boss fight, you have the boss fight door sort of open up, and then you are ready to take on Patient 13. Now, this was the actual 3rd attempt of me doing this Easter egg. The first attempt was just a bit silly. I got quite far in, and then I think I failed on the disarm step. I was just being silly. I lost salvage. I didn't necessarily like die out. I just sort of gave up and said I'm just going to go do it again, because I basically went down, lost myself 5. I stupidly, I think, used my streak. I'm just so rusty at this game. I used my streak, whatever it is that I had. I think it was a chopper gunner, and I was like, you know what? I have like 1,600 salvage left. This isn't enough in order to go actually do the boss fight for the first time, and I don't want to rush it, so I went and did it again. The second time I actually attempted this boss fight, I ran out of ammo. I had max ammo waiting for me after the first wave, and I just thought the max ammo kind of stuck around and sort of stayed with you. And of course, I was keeping an eye on it to make sure it didn't start like flashing. The second I started seeing it flashing, it just basically disappeared in like a heartbeat is what it felt like. So I ran out of ammo. I didn't have enough points. I ended up having to use a Gobblegum to try and use one of my sort of Gobblegums to sort of increase the rarity of my melee weapon and try and get kills that way. Nothing was working, and eventually I ran out of ammo, could not kill any zombies, and I therefore couldn't damage the boss. So then what I did is I downed myself, used, because I had the Ray Gun Mark II at the time, used the ammo you get in the Ray Gun Mark II while you're down to damage the boss, start a second wave, and then by that point I had no perks, and I was just at a point where I was like, great, this is not great. And then the boss ended up actually consuming me and eating me, which is the clip you would have saw at the start of the gameplay, and that was the second attempt I did. And then on the third and final one, there definitely seems to be like a reoccurring theme here if you guys aren't new and you guys have seen the previous episodes, where some of these maps I just tend to do on the third attempt. I don't know what it is, and I'd like to get some of these done first time, but for the most part, I just sort of play too many other games, so I don't really remember how to do the Easter eggs. So what I end up doing is on the first ever attempt, I'm literally rewatching the video for the first time again, since having done it before or not done an Easter egg before in the past. So I end up having to try and sort of pause the game and actually learn it during I do it. So maybe going forward, I just should stop doing that, learn it first, and then I give it an attempt. Maybe I'll do that for Citadel Day more, which will be the next upcoming episode in this series next week. So look out for that, guys, on the channel. But for the most part, this boss fight, this map in itself was such a great experience. Defeating this boss on the third attempt was just a lot easier now that I knew what I was doing, and I made sure that I prepared myself with the right amount of salvage in order to get the chopper gunner as well, and then to make sure I had a good enough amount of perks and all that sort of stuff. Just made doing this a lot easier than maybe I thought it was initially. And overall, I just think it's a great map with a cool wonder weapon, one of the best boss fights I've had and done in years. And with the map size being so big, there's so much variety, so many different places to train, explore, and both experience. And with so many different side Easter eggs, I do not think this map gets enough love for what it deserves. Overall, I think Black Ops 6 was definitely a success. We're going to get our way through all the way leading into Black Ops 7 going forward in the rest of the series, with leading into Black Ops 7, which by the time this video drops will only be about a month's time, and the beta will be around the corner. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this series so far and sort of sticking with me leading into Black Ops 7, where I'm going to grind out so much content, and I'm definitely going to go after that master camo, get as many zombie reps in as I can as possible, as soon as possible, and hopefully give you guys a cool experience and cool moments to share alongside the way as well. With that said, that's pretty much the video. As always, if you've enjoyed, do not forget to like and subscribe. It massively helps me out. And if you have any comments, tips or tricks about playing zombies or Terminus, or even have any suggestions about future videos that you want to see on the channel, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get right back to you. I'm reminisce. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.